Hello, it's Mark Kelly here from What I Know Now. I'm delighted to welcome you to episode 5. In this episode I interviewed Susan Dwyer, the CEO of MakeAWish Ireland. I'm so excited to share this episode with you. I've been literally counting down the days till I can let you hear it. In today's episode we'll talk about a variety of topics, from Susan's unusual journey to becoming a CEO, MakeAWish family philosophy, current initiatives such as Rope for Hope, top 3 wishes granted to kids, which are truly inspirational stories, Susan's biggest learns, accepting vulnerability and working with a team that complements her skill sets, why Susan is passionate about working in Make-A-Wish, her personal communication style, and also whether or not Susan would speak to her 80-year-old self or her 18-year-old self. I was quite interested in her answering that one. The future of Make-A-Wish in the next couple of years, and also I gave a little bit of an overview about my huge experience from actually doing the interview in Make-A-Wish. It really did leave me a different person. I genuinely mean that. You are in for an absolute treat. So kick back, relax and enjoy. Susan, can you tell me about your journey to become a CEO?
It's been an interesting one. I started off way back training as a Montessori teacher, and then veered slightly off and kind of went into advertising and working on events with alumni associations and different things for different companies. And I worked in London for a while, and when I came back to Dublin it was kind of recession time, one of them, and I fell into fundraising. But that's over 23 years ago. But I found passion for it, absolutely adored it. And it's the one thing you have to say about this sector. If you don't have a passion for it, you know, you're just not going to love it. And I've worked in several charities and ended up back in 2006 coming to work for Make-A-Wish as their development and fundraising manager. And a couple of years later, there was a vacancy for the CEO. And I said, you know something, if I don't do it, if I don't go for it, I'll regret it. And I remember going for the interview and did the interview. And I came out and I rang a friend and I said, okay, I've done the interview, back to work. And my chairman at the time rang a couple of days later and I picked up the phone and I was sort of distracted. And he said, okay, so I'm speaking to the new CEO. And I said, great, when? And he roared laughing and he said, right, you idiot, it's you. So that was me. So, you know, now in 2016, I've been doing the role for several years. I do love it. It's a challenge, but I'm very glad I went for the role. I mean, I was under no illusions. There's an awful lot of challenges.
Yeah.
You know, my primary passion is fundraising. But as CEO, you have to get into the nitty-gritties of, you know, HR, you know, growth for the business, trying to, you know, see how we're going to pull the team together, how we're going to look at, you know, future growth for the organisation. And then, you know, the challenges that hit, so that, you know, our waiting list may be growing, how are we going to combat that? So it's liaising with the board, it's working with the board and recruitment of the board, and certainly in the sector that, you know, that's had some scandals over the last few years, to bring the elephant in the room up. You know, it's been a journey of ensuring that Make-A-Wish is one step ahead of the curve, and that, you know, we're very fortunate. We were one of the very first charities to sign up to what's called the triple lock of codes, which is in relation to governance code, statement of guiding fundraising principles, to ensure complete and total transparency to the public.
Right.
And, you know, the policies and the procedures and the best practices that we've sort of instigated within the charity over the last 4 or 5 years is monumental.
Yeah.
And, you know, certainly I would like to see us more of a business that's not for profit than the old traditional style of charity.
Right.
Because I'm very proud to work with the team that's here. It's a small team, but every single member of the team goes that extra step.
Yeah.
And what's the reason? For our children. So I suppose the key aspect of Make-A-Wish is the difference it makes to not only the wish child but the entire family.
Yeah.
And so when we receive a letter back in after a wish has been granted, and an awful lot of our parents do, but they send the photographs as well, and it's the beaming smile, not just on the child but the entire family. And when you think about each and every one of our families, they are going through very challenging times. Yeah. And you know, if they're living in the country and they're still having to coming up to Dublin, to Temple Street or to Crumlin, you know, it's mum and dad focusing, right, who's going to take the child, who, you know, and the siblings are still looking for that attention, the play dates.
Of course.
But you know, the fact is that by us including the entire family on the wish child becomes the hero, and the entire family experience a moment in time where they can forget everything. The hospitals, the injection, even the illness. And you know, these memories last a lifetime. And in some of our children's cases, you know, some of our children pass away, and these are memories that are so powerful that are left with the family. The impact is that we do make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, we do create that hope, that strength, that joy, which is so badly needed. I have a child myself, well, 21-year-old.
Yeah.
But we all see it in our children, and even as an adult, if we get something that we never thought we'd get, the lift that gives us. So Make-A-Wish is really important.
Do you find that, and I talked about energy and coming into work, kind of addictive to see the smile, the impact, the influence you have, the difference that you make, that it's a case of you're getting more than you feel sometimes the people are getting, because you're so full of endorphins that it's like, wow, I've just made a difference to somebody today, and I know I have. And it's the case of, because that's what I've seen from any work that I've done outside of my regular employment, is I get such a buzz that I'm like so happy about it that I'm thinking, this is fulfillment. You just do this and it's like you feel better about yourself, right? And so is it addictive?
It could be nearly classified as the perfect job. I mean, there's challenges, there's ups and downs. You know, I mean, you should see the team here when, you know, we find out a child is very ill or a child has passed away, or for instance, we have what we call a rush wish, where we know the life expectancy is not very long, and everybody drops everything and everyone tries to make that wish that bit more special than possible. But do you know something? It's even winning. You know, going out and pitching for a piece of business that know we're going to bring in that money, because that ticks the box that there's another few wishes that can be granted. And the only time you really get pulled down is, as I said, when, you know, there's not some good news about a child, or for instance, we can see the waiting list growing, and this is where it is so imperative that, you know, the public still keep supporting Make-A-Wish, because by supporting Make-A-Wish, the public are actually becoming wish granters themselves. They're making an impact on a child's life, and on families' lives. And it's not just a moment in time, it's for life. We have meetings with the team where, you know, we share what the next few wishes are that are coming up, or the team may go out as a volunteer on a wish visit, so what did they experience, or listening to even some of our volunteers and their stories as to what, you know, what impact it's made on them. And it's also, you know, it's coming up with new initiatives. So for instance, you know, this year we came up with this one, which is the corporate Christmas campaign. But, you know, as I said earlier, 8,500 charities, all looking for that same money at the end of the financial year. So what happened was, this is a wish child, Bobby, who agreed to be the face of the campaign. And this envelope has gone out to quite a large number of corporates, asking, you know, if you have a small amount of money that you think you could donate to Make-A-Wish this Christmas, please do. And when they open it, they actually see Bobby's handwritten his own letter.
I know, it's
and it's him saying what his wish was, and that, you know, please will you help Make-A-Wish to grant more.
Reading it out?
Sure. My name is Bobby. I'm 8 years old. I have cystic fibrosis. I like to play GAA in football and playing with my friends. Make-A-Wish made my wish come true by arranging for me to meet my favourite soccer player, John Terry, from my favourite football team, Chelsea. I enjoyed it from start to finish, and my mum loves seeing a big smile on my face. It gave me a chance to forget about my daily routine of medicine and physio, and it would be brilliant if you could help other children like me to have their wishes granted. But he designed the whole letter. So that's gone out, and so far we're actually getting great traction. But this is a new initiative this year. And we'd urge as many corporates as possible to actually think of donating in this way. And there's, we're obviously offering an email signature then to say that this company has donated. But there's other events like the Rope for Hope, which was a new challenge we brought in.
Yeah, it looks very, very interesting.
Yeah, the staff in here were trying to make me do it. That wasn't happening.
That looked pretty scary. I think you'd have to have some nerves to do it. It looked very, very good, but I was like, oh my God, that looks pretty scary.
Well, I went out, it was on the State Street building, and I went out on the sort of the media day because the CEO of State Street had agreed to do it. But I can tell you, I went out in very high heels in a total outfit that there was no way anyone could persuade me to get up the top of that building that day. But this was an initiative that had come about from MakeAWish in Canada. And, basically we were able to follow that template, so it wasn't reinventing the wheel, and bring it out. And it was an enormous success for us. But we've had others ideas that have completely and totally failed. But I suppose the key learning for us is that, never be afraid of failing.
Just try these different things out.
It's one thing I've learned throughout the years is don't be afraid of failing, learn from it.
Tell me how you become a volunteer.
It's actually really quite simple. So, you contact us here in the office or through the website, makeawish.ie. And, there is, back to the processes and procedures, there's a process and there's application forms to fill in. And once references have been checked, and we do Garda e-vetting as well. But once all that's done, and for instance, we have a training day coming up this coming weekend, we would bring volunteers to a training session, which is about 4 hours. And what we do is we take them through the background of MakeAWish, how it started back in 1980 in Arizona, and what MakeAWish Ireland do since we started in 1992, how we've grown, what are the aspects of fundraising, what are the aspects of wish granting, and what is the role of the volunteer. Yeah. And in some cases, it's the wish granting side can take a little bit longer because you are sending a team of 2 into a family to ascertain the child's wish. Yeah. So it's just ensuring that we're covering from a data protection point of view, from a security point of view, etc. But the volunteers love it, and we're always looking for more. We don't have enough. Yeah. Because volunteering is actually the backbone of Make-A-Wish. It's a small team in here, and we need more volunteers around the country. Yeah, and one thing. You've got some really cool ambassadors. I was looking at the list there as well. So you've got Johnny Sexton, Padraig Harrington, I believe his wife as well. Yeah, Caroline is incredible support, and helps us with different committees each year and stuff. Little Green Cars, Miriam O'Callaghan, Ken Doherty, Laura Birmingham, Imelda May. We've about 16 or 17 ambassadors. And they're all incredible. So I know this is going to be a hard question to answer, but have you got like a top 3 wishes that you've seen happen that have just really moved you, that you felt firstly you got out of it, but maybe the kids, that you could see that their enjoyment and their just amazement? There's several, and some, which is the other aspect of this, that we're always very conscious that some of our children are no to publicity. So there's some of them that are very dear to my heart, but we can't talk about them as that. Yeah. There's certainly one that I think I was in the charity about 3 or 4 years, and this request came in, and it was to be a knight and rescue a dog, and it was done in Donegal, and this child was met at the gates of a castle, and he was put on a horse, and he was escorted up the driveway, and he met the real king and the entourage. And even all our volunteers were dressed in the old style, of costumes. And he was knighted. And He then spent the next few days sort of dueling with knights, because he had to prepare, because he actually had to duel his way through to the keep to rescue his dog. But a local businessman actually heard about the wish, and he sent his helicopter in order to bring this young lad to open a fete nearby. And anyway, on the last day, he celebrated a birthday during the week, but on the last day, off he went, and he duelled his way, all these other knights, and he rescued Bonnie, the dog. And I just, it's, if you think about it, no, the only wish, the only limitation on a wish is the child's own imagination. So, you know, who would have ever thought of that sort of a wish? I don't know.
That is pretty out there.
You know, now we have simpler wishes, which could be, you know, to have a sensory bedroom, and those sort of wishes, because the child really isn't well. But we see what, you know, our volunteers or corporates who support us do for them, and you're just going, wow, and you know it's made a difference. Or it could be to be a princess. And of course, a princess has to have a day dress and an evening dress.
Right.
And the hotel then will put a cushion on the bed, and there could be the little sort of slippers that have to be worn that evening. And then when the princess maybe comes down the stairs, you know, she's serenaded down the stairs, or there's pipers to bring her into her banquet. And it's just, every single time a wish is done, I go, wow, the team here are incredible. Their creativity, their imagination, and bearing in mind minimal budgets. Okay, so you're begging every time you get on the phone. But it's then the hotels or the limo drivers, or, you know, even the firemen. There was a fabulous wish, fireman Sam, and he was basically, the fire station had got another station to cover their sort of area. And they sent 2 or 3 fire trucks to his house with everything going to collect him, to bring him back. And when he came back to the fire station, he was lined up, now small, lined up with all the other firemen. And the chief fire officer said, oh, hang on a second. And he was brought into another room, and they had full uniform for his size.
Are you serious?
With the hat, with the name on it.
Wow.
Okay. He rescued a cat. He washed the fire trucks. He was up and down the pole. It was an incredible experience. So I could be here for about 4 hours talking about, because every single wish is unique. There are no 2 princess wishes alike. There's no 2 party wishes alike. Even the Disney wishes, they're not alike, because everyone has a favourite character.
One thing I loved about your website is the ease of use, but when you go to put a donation on, it says, if you donate this amount of money, this is what gift we can get, this is what wish we can get. If you donate this is what wish we can get. And it's very, very, you've kind of made it kind of quantifiable in some ways, but it's really good, because it shows the difference that you can do. Or if you've got a corporation coming together and putting the resources in, you can make a big difference to that person as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is really good. And I'll be putting on the links on my podcast and website for everybody if they want to check that out.
Super. The more donations that come in, that'll be the best of all.
I know. I'll be putting myself, after November's finished, that'll be the next one.
Thank you very much, Mark.
To do. Is there anything that you now know that in hindsight you would have liked to know a few years back when you were younger?
Oh boy. I think 3 years ago, I made a decision to go back to school. And I started, now initially it was just literally going to be one sort of diploma, and I was going to go back and I did a diploma in management. 3 years later, I finished my master's. And that journey has shown me, I suppose, that don't be afraid of making a mistake. Don't feel that you have to know everything. You know, rely on that team around you. You know, rely on the fact that you as a CEO or you as a leader have got a great group behind you. And don't be afraid to show your weakness. You know, And I think that was a big lesson for me because, you get the CEO hat, right? And suddenly you're supposed to be infallible. You're supposed to know everything.
Solve everything.
Yeah, you're supposed to balance this. So even when you make a decision and somebody doesn't like it, you're supposed to try and sort that out and everything else. And guess what? You're not perfect. Okay? And it's certainly a big lesson for me is that, oops, we've made a mistake. But what did you learn from it? And that's the key. Learn from any mistake you make.
Do you usually make a decision after you sleep on something and make a decision first thing in the morning, or do you find you can make that decision straight away, or how? I suppose it depends on the decision.
Depends on the situation, but if there's any big decision, there's a lot of sleeping on it. And equally, I much prefer face-to-face discussion. So I actually hate email. I know we all have to use it, but I think email can be misconstrued. 100%. I think it can be done, we all do an email as we're going out the door.
Worst thing.
And we actually had a staff team day here recently, and one of the decisions that was made was that there's no internal emails unless we absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Walk to the desk, talk to someone.
Such an important point.
And certainly in our sector, it's people give to people. So they're not going to give to an email.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you go back to this corporate brochure, right, that's people giving to Bobby and his request. Okay? So, it's a question of decisions. I certainly wouldn't make a decision via email. I think it through. I'm a great one for sort of roadmaps and, sort of figuring things out and what if and what should we do here. And then talking to others. So if it's a very big decision, I have no problem ringing my chair and going, okay, I'm not sure about this. It is probably operational, but I need to bounce it off someone.
Sharing the risk as well, kind of getting ideas.
Well, it's more just, I value their opinion. And, they're all leaders within their own particular sectors. And it's useful.
The thing that I say for you is it's going to be also very emotive, right? Some of the decisions that you have to make, like you're not dealing with widgets, right? You're genuinely dealing with people's dreams. So you have to make these decisions where there is no easy decision, right? And I'm guessing that's probably a big challenge.
It can be a very big challenge, and certainly if a wish comes in and it's it's a very expensive wish.
Yeah.
And to your point, it's not a widget, but it is a question of that you're then constantly thinking of the next list.
Then you're setting a precedent for this type of.
And Ireland's so small, people talk.
Of course, and social media.
So it's trying to get that balance, and it's again talking to the team in here and going, okay, are there ways around this?
Yeah.
Can we look at this again and see what can be done? And we do. But, you're not really on your own in here. You can, it's such a good group that, it could be at a staff meeting, it could be actually over the cup of coffee at the kettle going, really not sure what I'm going to do on this one. Well, what about such and such and such?
Well,
everybody does it.
You throw it out there.
Yeah.
So if you had the opportunity to speak to your 18-year-old self or your 80-year-old self, who would you speak to and why?
Definitely wouldn't be the 18-year-old self.
Okay, why not?
Don't listen to advice. They don't.
That's true.
They know everything. Okay. God, when I think back to my own 18-year-old self, and I have a 21-year-old who I adore to bits, but at that age group, you know everything. Okay, can't be told anything, nothing.
In this day and age, they do.
Whereas my 80-year-old self, I would like to think, would sort of sit down with me and sort of say, actually, something, you didn't do too bad a job. And, you made some half-decent decisions, some good ones. There were mistakes on the way, but you held true to yourself. You stuck to your values. And you should be proud of yourself, and that's what I'd like to hear my 80-year-old self say, because we all go through that doubt, and those 3 o'clock in the mornings where I sit there, and if I don't have a pen and paper, and there's about 7 different tasks in my head and I'm trying to remember them, but you do think through and kind of go, oh God, did I make the right decision or whatever. Yeah. So I think I would like to think my 80-year-old self says, well done, you did a good job.
Because it's kind of like, did you ever see that Groundhog Day with Bill Murray? Because he keeps getting the advice, but he still doesn't do anything with it. Right, so I'm always thinking, well, I don't know if it's going to make a difference, because you're going to get these different circumstances, and maybe it's just not meant to be.
I'd like to believe that I could listen to some advice. I'd like to be able to believe that at my age now, I would listen to someone who's 80 years of age.
Right, okay. And
go, I mightn't like what I'm hearing, but guess what? That needs to go on my radar, or I need to be aware of that. I'd also like to think, I don't think any of us like criticism, but if it was done constructively, maybe I could take it on board and actually decide, okay, I need to change, or I need to adapt.
Out of any of the people you've met over the years, any celebrities or just anybody you've met, anyone that particularly stands out as very motivational, inspirational, that really made you take a look to go, wow, these people made a big impact on me?
There's a few, actually. There's a few. One would be Nora Casey herself. I think, I've had many a conversation with Nora, and she's a great advocate for, that belief in yourself, and just getting on and doing it.
Yeah.
And that would be one. There's so many actually in different ways, because it could be a chance conversation with, the likes of Miriam O'Callaghan, and she'll say something, or Imelda May, and I'm in the middle of a conversation and suddenly they'll say something and I go, oh my God, Margaret, CEO of Sodexo, she actually came to speak at my course, and she, some of the things she was saying, and I was going, hang on a second, this is, a very influential woman, and she's shown her vulnerability. Why am I so caught up in worrying about what people think? So there's quite a lot, and I'd also say that my family, they've travelled with me on this journey. They've travelled with me throughout, my master's journey, and they've seen the tears that I'm giving this up. This is ridiculous. I can't do it. And they've helped me along. So I'd say my husband and my child, and equally my parents. Because it's that pride they show in you that you kind of want to keep going. Strength. So yes, there's been people, there's been business people, there's some of the members of the board are incredible, but I would say family and friends are just as influential for you as an individual, because you can trust them.
What's coming up in the next couple of months, year for MakeAWish?
Well, I suppose we're bringing about our volunteer conference again in February, in the first weekend in February. So this is where we're going to pull everyone together and kind of bring them along. John Lonergan is actually going to be our opening keynote speaker,
that's nice.
Which will be great. And then we have the ball, which will be in May.
What's involved in that?
The ball, the tickets are €150 each, and there's tables at 10, but we're really going for it next year. So we're actually in the middle of finalising a big high-performance celebrity act for the ball.
Oh, wow. Make sure that'll be on the link as well, so
absolutely.
you'll be all going to this ball.
Yeah, contact me directly if you'd like tickets for the ball. But even before we've sent out a save the date, we've sold 7 tables, so and we haven't even started really working on it. But also the 31st of March is a very big day for us. It's our national fundraising day, and that's where we go out selling merchandise all around Ireland. So it's a big ask for really 2 things. One, we need more volunteers in all the different counties to actually offer the 2 or 3 hours to go out and sell product for us. And then the other is just to keep it in mind. So when you see our volunteers out there, know that, Make-A-Wish has the highest standard of governance codes, that we are out there for our children, and we want to grant 200 wishes next year. And we can't do that without general public support. So 31st of March, we really need people to donate that €2.
Okay, and the date of the ball again?
The date of the ball is the 13th of May, and it's in what was the Burlington, and as of yesterday is the Clayton Burlington Road.
Okay, nice. So we'll be seeing more information about that coming up shortly.
That'll all be going up on the website. We're just finalising the save the date, and once we have that, it'll go up. But it's a great night. It's a night that you still see people there at 5 a.m. They haven't gone home. And we've, Max Benjamin, Newbridge Silverware and Mink have come on board in relation to the goodie bags alone. So this is a big night. So.
Okay, brilliant. That's me for all the questions. Thank you
very much, Mark.
For your time
thoroughly
today.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Mel.
Thank you. My thanks to Susan at Dwyer. I'm so grateful to Susan for providing her time to meet with me and share her journey. The work Susan and the team do at Make-A-Wish is truly inspiring. Please make sure to check out their website at makeawish.ie. You can also subscribe to this podcast via iTunes or your podcast of choice. Just search for WIKN. You can also find the past episodes at www.wikn.co. That's www.wikn.co. On that site, you can also subscribe to the mailing list and find out more about work with myself. I'll be back next week, and I hope you'll join me. What takeaway action are you going to put into practice after listening to this podcast today? Please leave me a comment and a review, and have an absolutely super day.